Hey everyone, so I'm going to explain to you how to use the Gale database to research information about climate change for your Zine project. Let me go ahead and make that full screen. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead in this. Here we go. Our learning objective is I'm learning to use a database for academic research. Success criteria, I can find facts on my topic from at least 2 database sources. All right, so here is your end goal. You want to create a zine about climate change based off of your research. Here is a very well done zine that a student made in another class. And we can see that they answer the question, what is climate change, right? And then they go into their second question, how does climate change affect, kids, right? So that was their 2 questions. This person includes their sources. So they had 3 sources that they used. Typically, the sources go on the very back page, but the student decided to put it on the other page. I prefer it on the back page, but it doesn't matter. And the student did a fabulous job of including those sources, and they had at least 2. Okay, so this is, I understand this is quite a highly proficient, but this is a kind of example of the zine project that you are going to do. The zine in total is a cover page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this would be the 6th page. They have it right here, 6 pages of content, and then the source page. So the whole thing is this. Okay, the first thing that you need to do when you are starting your zine project is to identify your question. And you have this paper here to help you out with getting started with that. And this is also where you will write down all of your research when you get to that part. Starting 1, everybody is doing what is climate change. So I recommend that you go ahead and you circle or you highlight that question. You're going to need to answer that question. Now, you have a lot of flexibility about what you use to answer that question. You can use any of the notes from class. You can do some Gale database research. It's all about carbon video notes will be helpful with that question as well. Then you need to choose a second question that is going to make your zine unique. So in this example, this student chose, how does climate change affect? And they chose kids. You will choose one of these questions. What causes climate change? How does climate change affect something? How does using some energy source for electricity affect the climate? What are other environmental impacts of this energy source? What are people doing now to prevent the worst effects of climate change? And what can people do to prevent the worst effects of climate change? Choose one, only one. It's a tiny little thing, so you don't have enough space to do more than one of those questions. All right, I strongly recommend, I'm making this video after students have already done 1 day of research. So this is for students who maybe missed it or aren't sure what to do. If at this point you have not chosen a question yet, I really recommend you either choose what causes climate change to focus on the greenhouse effect, and maybe like people's things that people do that contributes to climate change, or you choose how does using blank for electricity affect the climate. And I strongly recommend you either choose coal or natural gas. I think there are more resources related to coal as well. Those are our 2 big energy sources that contribute a lot to the climate, so there's lots and lots of information about that. So if I am in your shoes right now and I have not picked a question, I am choosing what causes climate change, or how does using coal for electricity affect the climate, or how does using natural gas for electricity affect the climate. Do you have to take my advice? No, but that is your fastest route to getting this project done and doing a good job. All right, now it's time to make a plan, specifically a plan around research. Okay, so Gale is this is the database that we are learning how to use in this project, and databases are these curated lists of resources that is on the internet that you can pull from, and it is a higher level of content than you would get from just Googling your questions. There's less junk. You know that the sources that you're getting are factual. All of that is really important. You also have free access to paywalled content. So you will be able to read the whole article. You're not going to get stopped partway through and say like pay this much money to read more. You can choose what form of information you want to read. So you could read journals, magazines, news. I would recommend that you choose magazines, news, or books. Academic journals tend to be geared toward like scientists writing for other scientists. They're very high academic language. Okay, how does this look? We're going to be going to the mypps.net to access the Gale database. You have to go there instead of just Googling Gale. That'll take you through that paywall content. And then you're going to go to Power Search, and then you'll be able to plug in the keywords. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so I go to mypps. I'm going to click on Gale right there, Gale database. And here on this upper right-hand side, that's the Power Search, so I'll click there. Okay, and then let's pretend like I have chosen the what causes climate change, and I have some directions about how to find my first source. So the first source, it says Power Search climate change. Okay, climate change. And then click, let's see. Okay, we got topics. Excellent. I'm going to click climate change and topic. Okay, it says climate change. Click read overview. All right, and then I just want to make sure I'm looking for Sheeran and Blackwell, and I see here that this is Sheeran and Blackwell, so I know I'm on the right one. This is my first source. All right, I want to make sure I don't get ahead of myself really quickly with this. Let me go back to the slideshow. Okay, let me go back really quickly so I can show you a few things you have. First of all, this text size is really teeny tiny, so I'm going to increase the text size to make it easier for me to read. And then I can also have it read aloud to me if I click there. Or I can change the language, which is pretty cool. If I change it to another language, okay, let's complete the translation. When I click that play button, I think it will still read to me in the language that I chose. So that is pretty cool if that's something that is helpful to you. I find the read aloud function to be pretty helpful. Okay. Now, boop. Okay. So your job is to choose your question, find your source, take notes on your source. Once you have done that, you are going to need to pick a second source, and you have some, you'll use Gale to do your second source as well. So you can search with keywords for your second source, just like you did before, or you can look for similar articles. So if I go back to this article, here are related subjects more like this. That these things, all of that, can help me to find my second source. That might be a really good way to do it. Okay, before this becomes too long, let me see if there's anything else. Okay, great. You'll find, okay. You can use these slides to help you to remember this content that I've just talked about. I think that that's the end of the slideshow. Yes, okay. Your job is to have 2 sources from Gale of content. This is what I'm looking for. Oh, when you are writing down your facts, bullet point those facts with 5 to 10 words. That's it. You don't need a whole bunch of words on this paper. 5 to 10 words for each of these facts. I wish I threw that into this video earlier. Oh well. That's what it pays to watch till the end. All right. Good luck.